Hello, good morning. It's Monday the 20th. I'm FX Blue and this is the market brief. So we have inflation data due out this week. That will allow us to see if the Bank of England rate hikes are having any effect on UK inflation. Last month, inflation rose to 9%, and estimates suggest another increase to anything around 9.2% in June. The Bank of England has been very reluctant to provide an idea about when they expect rate hikes to have an effect, probably because they're guessing their way through all this too, and they don't want another measurement to fall short of the mark against. But it's all a little difficult to align their stated priority of fighting inflation and the meagre 25 basis point rate hike. Remember, Bailey thinks that inflation could reach 11%, so there's potential for a further 2% rise before things topping out. Doesn't that warrant a cheeky little 50 basis points? One thing's for sure, the idea of a soft landing for the UK economy is no longer on the table. Growth has dropped to a point that recession is probably here already, save for the official definition needing 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. As such, last week sterling had a pretty volatile time in the market. We traded as high as 124.05 and as low as 119.35 against the dollar. This morning we open around 122.30 against the dollar and 116.20 against the euro. But Wednesday's inflation data, that should be the short-term driver for sterling. The US economy is transitioning away from the low inflation, low interest rate environment that has been in place since the end of the financial crisis. But where inflation and interest rates and indeed growth will end up, well, that's anyone's guess at the moment. Yellen has been on. She acknowledged the economic slowdown in growth that will affect GDP, but she does feel that a recession is far from certain. That flies in the face of many economists, analysts and market commentators who think it's pretty much nailed on now. But you do you, Janet. There's always a place for a contrarian out there, perhaps just not as Treasury Secretary though. Who knows? Her view is that it's only natural for an economy to take a breather before it resumes healthy growth with moderate to low inflation. A nice soundbite. But for what it's worth, I took a breather at my HIT class at the weekend and I was still absolutely ruined for the rest of the day. Just saying, Janet, this is world economics, not year 7 PE. So a breather, it may not be a lot to pin your hopes on. Last week the dollar index traded up to about 105.80, but Friday's close was around 104.65, and euro dollar, well, that kicks off the new week from around 105.25 this morning. That's it from me. Have a great day.
If you do not have a clue, then just tweet through and ask FX Blue.